So we see a cat here with a speech bubble above it, and you best believe if you let me talk to a cat, I'm gonna talk to a cat.
Yeah, these are some of our some of my favorite moments actually in the game, where we put out a whole bunch of events throughout the territory. And it sort of rewards, again, exploration, going around. It's a chance for us also to sort of showcase a different side of Eivor. A lot of the quests sort of deal more with like politics and warfare, and this shows a slightly more human nature to her, so it would permit us to explore that character a little bit more. And so here, basically, like you're trying to help a kid with his cat, and ultimately get that cat to sort of join your crew as a cat raider.
You just said cat raider way too casually. You're telling me I could have a cat Viking raider on my longship?
That's exactly what I'm telling you.
Oh my god, yes, I love it. Perfect.
So yeah, as you're riding around the rivers of England, you would see a cat basically walking around your longship, keeping your Viking raiders company.
You know, speaking of the Viking longship, we're seeing some of that gameplay here now. Can you talk a little bit about how that works and functions in Valhalla?
Yeah, so starting out on this project, I think the Viking longship is one of the biggest images that we all have when we think about Vikings in our game. And so Vikings had this awesome design for a longship that had a very shallow hull, so it permitted them to go very far inland very quickly, and you could basically disembark Viking raiders like on pretty much any shore. We added that into the game where you can basically sail up to any location and then just decide to disembark with your guys and raid a location, loot all its treasure, get back in the ship, and then continue sailing down the river to your next opportunity.
So I know past Assassin's Creed games allowed for songs and things like that to be sung on ships. Will Valhalla have a similar version of that?
Yeah, so this is something we actually wanted the crew of your ship to become like your home away from home. So we added stories and songs into the ship. So basically, as the player is going around, you could decide to have your skald sort of sing a song for you as you row down the river. But you can also decide, depending on who the raiders are in your ship, to hear more about their life. So you can actually queue up stories, and they'll give you a little bit more background on who they are. So you get to know your sort of fighters as you're traveling around the world, which is a cool moment.
So here we're seeing a bit of a different view. What exactly are we looking at?
We had this on previous Assassins, where you would like ride on your horse, and you could pull out, have the horse sort of follow the track. We have a similar thing for the ship, where you can put up your sails. It's cruise control for the ship, so you can pull back, take in the scenery, listen to some songs or some stories, and just take it all in.
So, you know, speaking of Viking songs, we have an activity here that's not exactly singing, but kind of related, right?
Yeah, so here what we have is what we call flighting, which was an activity that Norse people would partake in. They would like to have a battle of wits and sort of poetry, where insults would be thrown back and forth between each other. The idea was to try and have a good insult, but also to have a good rhythm and a good rhyme in there. So it's basically a precursor to rap battles.
Here's the silver. Now begin.
To all those whom I speak, they say Eivor's a clod.
Then you're speaking to fools and their knowledge is flawed.
Well...
How exactly do you go about being successful in one of these?
The trick behind a good flight was to choose the right insult, identifying the right cadence, and then trying to find what rhymed the best.
I'm known for my might.
Interesting. Silent whispers all claim that you're terribly dense.
Then you've clearly misheard them. My wit is immense.
Oh, you looked out with that one. Well, what a surprise. Eivor of the Raven clan is a true talent. I'm shocked.
Don't believe everything you hear, unless it touches on my flighting. Then heed every word.
Take the coin.
So now
You know
that we've
only
proven
ways
our
will
sharp
henceforth
tongue
cross my
and wit,
lips.
I think it's time for a bit more relaxing activity. So we're fishing here.
Yeah, that's it. So we gave Eivor a fishing line, so you can actually throw out a line and go catch some fish. This is used basically to play into our new health loop, where the player will lose health in the world, and it doesn't automatically regenerate like we would have in the past. So you actually have to go out and get some supplies. So you'll find mushrooms and some food that you can gather. But here, like you can also catch some fish and consume that to regain some health. We also will sometimes have it in certain quests. So it's a good way to sort of chill out on the side of the water and just, again, take it all in. So this is what we call one of our offering altars. So the idea is that you find these around the world and you make offerings to it. So it'll take like animal parts and stuff that you can find throughout the world. Here what you're seeing though is sort of like a fancy version of it, where as you do your offering you get interrupted by some kids that basically come and steal your stuff. So it's just a way for us to sort of showcase that like the systems and the activities in the world can sort of play in with some quests and some little events. So it's our way to sort of dress up these moments and make it all fit inside the whole experience.
Yeah, this seemed like a really sort of unexpected turn for what I thought was going to be kind of a simple interaction.
Yeah, and it's really what we were trying to do with these events is to give another dimension to Eivor, other than just, the pure rar Viking or the politician. Because you can imagine at some point that will grow old if you're always telling that version of the character. So it lets us really go into the depth of who is Eivor, what motivates her, how she can interact with the world outside of warfare and politics.
But your stealth needs work.
We were close.
And it also showcases like a different
traveler.
facet of the world at the same time. It's not only Eivor. So it just widens the breadth of the stories that we can tell.
So who exactly are these two children?
These are kids of East Anglia. They are going through tough times with whatever Rued's been doing to the territory. And so they're just here trying to survive and basically exploit the people that are there to make offerings.
It was kind of nice to see that Eivor wasn't really necessarily upset at them for stealing, and after you talk to them, you have the choice of helping them. You can give them food, give them some money, or maybe just say, hey, good luck, on your way.
Yeah, and then this is something we also wanted to do a lot. Like, so here we're doing an event, we do it in quests as well, but we want to give a lot of this agency into players' hands so that they can sort of shape Eivor a little bit, who she is, so it represents them a little bit more, and they can roleplay that a little bit better. And again, it just gives her like a little bit more humanity in these moments.
This is what large walkers should do. Provide for small walkers.
Here, large walker.
A necklace.
Yes, it's a St. Martin seal. You're welcome here anytime, large walker. You're one of us now. Visit us, okay?
I will. Take care now, small green walkers.
So I think AC veterans might recognize this here, but what exactly is Eivor chasing down?
Yeah, so here you're seeing Eivor running down one of our tattoo images. So this is challenging the player on free run abilities, but also for fans of the series, sort of pulling at their heartstrings for some beloved features.
So are we going to be able to tattoo Eivor?
Yes, by collecting these tattoos, you actually bring them back to your settlement, and then you can customize different body parts, having different tattoos everywhere. So again, another form of expression, and it's sort of to represent that Viking culture.
Fizz, one of my favorite things when I was just out there exploring East Anglia was coming upon a house or a building and realizing that there was a chest inside, but that there was no easy way in. And in this case, I saw all the doors were barred, but I knew that because there was a chest in there must have been some way to get inside. So I went around the back and, found a way in.
Yeah, I'm glad you actually caught on to that. You're pointing at something that we wanted to work on a lot on Valhalla, where we wanted the exploration to make you feel smarter. So we played a lot with puzzle solving, so making sure that every house that you find sort of appeals to you, like it draws your attention, and then when you want to come and explore, it's not given to you. You still have to work for it a little bit, so it'll challenge you on your observation skills, logic, just trying to find how do I get into this. So we play a lot with level design, quest design to offer challenges to players, and you basically come out of it like with a better feeling for the exploration, but you also get to see more of a story behind any of these locations which we've crafted. So it gave us a little bit more time to sort of slow down the experience and tell a different version of a story.
A poor victim of someone's fury.
Yeah, I mean, speaking about exploration and just finding things out in the world, I was just wandering and came across this clearing and found this kind of morbid altar.
Yeah, so this is one of our bigger events that we have scattered in the world. So as Eivor explores, she can find altars like this, and by interacting with them, here it's a trap that's been set by this character named Regan. Now, there's a bigger story behind all this. There's multiple steps to it later on. So this is one of the moments. It permits us to go into a slightly more mystical realm and play with a boss fight that has more magical abilities, if we will. And basically have this awesome boss fight in the middle of the swamps. And so here the abilities that you see Regan using are a little bit on the mystical side of things. What's happening is Eivor at the beginning in that trap is poisoned, and so she starts sort of hallucinating, seeing the world in a sort of different light and filter. And so that's sort of what lets us go into the realm of the weird.
My rage, spirit of my father's rage, fill me!
Enough is cracking and crunching. Let rest your demons.
So we just saw here that Regan belongs to something called the Daughters of Lyria.
Yeah, that's correct. By finding the other daughters, you'll get a little bit more backstory on who they are, so we don't want to spoil that too much. But it creates like a sort of greater story that is not on the main path in any way, but it is still very rich and adds to the lore of this world and actually plays into history.
So we just had a really exciting, really intense boss battle. I think it's time for something a little bit more relaxing and calming now.
Yeah, it's all about pacing yourself with the highs and the lows. So here we have a low chill moment of what we call building a cairn. So Eivor, as she explores the world, will find these sort of meditative areas where you have a pile of rocks that you could just stack on on top of one another using physics. And I mean, yeah, the ultimate goal is to try and get the highest pile of rocks, but really it's about taking in the sights, relaxing, taking a step back, and just building something.
Together we stack stones into cairns.
These?
Yes. Think of this as a test of mind and wit. Stack the cairn stones high and wide into any shape you like.
I mean, you can spend as much time as you want building these things, making them as high as you want, as weird as you want. I'm sure like a lot of these stuff will end up on the internet, like people comparing structures. And the cool thing is that once you've built it and you decide to get out of it, it sort of stays there. And so that's yours, right? And until the moment where you come back and you want to build a new one. It's sort of cool that we were able to give that to players to express themselves.